Hi everyone, I'm Nito King. It's time for a new Space Quest game and a new Space Quest theme. Okay, enough with the music loop. Thank you. And check out those graphics. We're in the SCI days now, baby. No more AGI. See the little hand over there on the right? That's my cursor. The hand just means that I can't type anything. And now that it's an arrow, I can. But it also serves another purpose. If I click somewhere, Roger will walk there. The integration of mouse support was a big thing for adventure games. Of course, I'm trying to right-click on the pod to see if I can look at it, but I can't. I have to type look pod. Of course, for some reason the game doesn't understand the word pod. And this is what it says when it doesn't understand what I typed. It even calls it a pod. Yeah, in the early part of the game I'm probably going to be looking at a lot of things and letting you read what it says, because it's got some pretty good descriptions. Oh, yeah, Yeah, sorry. Forgot I can't call the pod a pod. Okay, so our escape pod is permanently useless. Oh well. One thing I did want to do is see if it's got a better description of my character in this game. But it doesn't seem to. At the very least, I couldn't figure out what I needed to type. So let's see what I'm carrying at least. Hit the tab key to bring up my inventory. And the only thing that is left after Space Quest 2 is the glowing gem. Which, oddly enough, isn't actually glowing, as we'll see shortly. A little bonus for anybody who remembered the previous game. This is our looking at an inventory item screen. Looks a bit better than the previous games did, I think. And the mineral is now called Orium. I don't know. Now this little blue thing on the ground is a lot more important than it may initially look. I just love the idea that Roger is still a janitor, recognizes a warp motivator when he sees one. And then I conveniently leave it right where it is and go off exploring. One thing you may notice about the game is ambient music. Another thing that just didn't really happen until this point in adventure games. And hopefully you're noticing that the backgrounds here are a lot more detailed than they were in the previous games. Probably because they've got 256 colors to work with now, and they're not constrained to the 16 that they were stuck with in the previous games. So they can actually have a lot more diverse objects there. At least I think we're in 256 colors. It might still be in 16, but it seems kind of detailed. So here I am walking through a corridor made out of a broken tanker. This is about the only way to get to the other side of the junk pile over here. And one thing that I'm going to do, even though I haven't seen why I would want to do this yet, I'm going to grab this length of wire from the wall. Obviously, eventually I'm going to get to a point where I need wire. And though I could come back here and get it then, something interesting happens if you get it earlier. And besides, wire is almost as useful as a rope. Now, this looks like an interesting place. Freaking giant metal head. It is a pretty big gap in that broken eye. I'm going to go ahead and leave the save screen in just the first time so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to be cutting most of those out throughout the game. And I don't like the way he moves diagonally in this game. It's just kind of weird. I mean, you always feel like you're going to fall off. So that's what our death screen looks like, and there are actually two different death themes. We'll be hearing the other one a lot more than this one. So if you're worried about falling off, which isn't really going to happen, you can use the mouse movements to fine-tune your position until you get close enough to the head. Man, he's climbing pretty slowly. Let's see if we can speed this up a little bit. You'll notice that we have much finer control of the speed this time. And here's an interesting option in the menu, the boss key. Now back then, a lot of adventure game designers put a boss key into their games, so if you hit a quick hotkey or picked an option from the menu, it would change a screen to look like a spreadsheet or a business document or something, so it looked like you were actually working. This joke is a reference to that. Granted, I only ever played one other game with a boss key in it, and I used to love hitting it as a kid, even though I didn't know what the purpose of it was, because I just loved looking at that weird spreadsheet. There's one other interesting option in the menu that I'll be showing off later. No, I call it interesting. It's not actually interesting at all. We got a couple of spaceships here. One of these might get us out. The small ship actually looks like one of the capsules from Dragon Ball Z to me. That message for a good time, don't call Hal, looked kind of suspicious to me, so... Of course, we all know what I'm going to do next. Absolutely nothing. It's the big ship here that's more interesting. Ah, the good old Aluminum Mallard. A mostly intact spaceship, which obviously is going to be our ticket out of here. Sadly, the hatch is way up on the roof, so I'm going to have to climb up to it. And good luck finding a good location to climb up. Using the F3 repeat the last thing I typed command. Which is a lot handier in this game, because every time that text box comes up, the game actually pauses. I think that's the most important change from AGI to SCI. But it just keeps saying the same thing. Now, of course, for some reason, I had to hail back to Altered Destiny at this point, where if you just type climb in a location where there's something to climb, regardless of what it is, you would climb it. And there's a hint that I need to bring a ladder at some point, but I don't know what you would call this thing otherwise. Climb neck, maybe? But if you just type climb, he climbs up. Like I said, my friends and I had some problems in Altered Destiny because there was one screen where there was something to climb, but if you weren't standing in exactly the right place, it would give you the message of, oh, there's nothing you can climb in this room. So it took one of my friends being really lucky to figure out that you could actually climb. And this is the thing that I hate. Back in AGI, if you left a screen and entered a new screen, you'd always just keep walking. In this game, most of the time, he'll stop at the edge of the screen, and you have to press a direction to start moving. And I figure while I'm here, I might as well grab that warp motivator. This is why I didn't grab it before, because you can't, but it's worth showing you why you can't. So let's move on. The only other place I can go is down this way. And yet more destroyed ships. I think that's a TIE fighter in the foreground. And of course the mention of the junkyard dog always brings to mind Full Throttle. So this game is great at making references to other games that hadn't come out yet. There's one interesting thing you can do on this screen, but it actually took me several tries to figure out what it was. So I can look at the metal plate, but I can't get the metal plate. I don't know what metal plate it's thinking of, but it's sitting right there. So I'm trying to trigger the death that I know happens if you touch the metal plate. I just couldn't figure out what it was, so I had to move on. And then I immediately moved back because, damn it, I want to find it. I'm gonna get it. Just give me a sign. There we go. Get metal. They put in a completely unique animation for something that nobody in their right mind is ever going to do unless you know this is going to happen. This is the last room we can get to on the ground. You can't go left from the previous screen, and you can't go right from this one. Pretty sure this dome, the Jupiter 2 in the background, is a reference to an actual show or movie, but I don't know offhand what it is. Same thing with that green arm in the background, but I forgot to look at it while I was here. Now, it draws a lot of attention to this bucket conveyor over on the right side of the room. And since we've been everywhere else we can get to, that's going to be our ticket to another area. And 5 points. So you know we've done something right. Okay, that's not always true. Occasionally you get points for doing something you shouldn't have, but... like this. And I'm so grateful for the pause feature here. Alright, I can't even look around, so I've got to get away from those gears over there. Fortunately, I can walk just as fast as the conveyor belt moves, and never have to worry about falling in. But it won't let me look at the gears, so let's get closer. I think I just picked the one word that doesn't actually refer to those gears, so let's take the Bill and Ted approach and get out of here. Alright, now that I'm safe, I can finally look around. Not a whole lot interesting to see, of course, but... I wonder, how long away is it down? Yeah, we've already seen that death message before. Fortunately, the rail is perfectly horizontal and completely straight, so it's easy enough to simply walk along by pressing left or right. It just goes on for quite a while. Yeah, now here's an interesting room. Interesting by way of actually having something in it. Alright, so 4 things to pay attention to. First of all, let's see where this rail goes if we continue following it. Well, there was the alternate game over theme that I accidentally skipped past. So, the machine hanging under the rail. It's a grabber, and it is, of course, our ticket out of here. So we got a control stick, and we got a claw button. Of course, whenever you find a new button, you've always got to push it. Alright, that was sufficiently boring. Now we can move back and forth just by pressing left and right. Simple enough. And finally, there's the robot in the background. Seems harmless. I think it's based on Johnny Five from the Short Circuit movies. Namely, Johnny Five before he got struck by lightning. Okay, so you need to move through this room fairly quickly before the robot sees you and kills you. So we just get off where there's actually space to walk and drop down the chute. That doesn't look good. It's Task Times in Tone Town music. Yeah, there's nothing in the debris, but I was kind of hoping to find something, some interesting message or whatever. But nothing to do in this room but leave. And we come out in a very familiar area. So, what was the purpose of all that? Well, we can take the ladder with us. I kind of like that message. Now, you could get the ladder the first time you're in this room, but only if you know that it's there. And if you haven't gone down the chute and ended up in that debris-filled room, how would you know it's there? So we'll skip all the backtracking and jump right to the spaceship here. And he climbs the ladder at the same speed regardless of your speed setting, from what I can tell. Now that ladder that was about twice Roger's height previously is now only about as tall as he is. And when they say be careful, they mean it. And yeah, you'd die from falling off the top of a spaceship. So let's not do that. Finally, my own ship! And first things first, gotta take a look around. So we got a red button and the diagnostic computer, and then places to sit. Of course, first thing you gotta do, push the button. Which is only the button to open the ramp, and because the ramp won't open, Roger decides he wants to leave through the hatch. Kind of annoying, but I can understand it if you knew that pushing the button was supposed to let you out of the ship. Otherwise, you just gotta climb back in. So let's take a look at this monitor and see what the state of the ship is. Power critically low. That's obviously not good. You notice an access panel open over on the left side. An empty reactor compartment. So we're going to have to go find a power reactor. But still, it's my own ship. I've got to sit in the cockpit. And the second thing you need to do whenever you get a new vehicle. And watch my score as I add these 7 Buckazoids to my inventory. There's some points a lot of people miss. So I've got money, not that I have any place to use it. And in our next exciting episode, I'm going to get this ship in the air. Promise. So, see you guys then. Hi everyone, I'm Nido King. It's time for a new Space Quest game and a new Space Quest theme.